Okay, so I'd like to just give you a little tutorial on how to basically read the summer training plan. I'm just going to show you on the 40 mile per week peak plan. For the rest of them, they're all going to look fairly similar, just a little bit more so in mileage for the 50 and the 60 mile per week plan, obviously. But I put a key up at the top here, basically just explaining what maybe each of like the letters mean or what like a type of workout means. E obviously standing for easy pace. I just put a little thing in here saying, if you don't have a heart rate monitor or a way to kind of track what an easy pace is, or like a GPS watch, you should feel no faster than a 2-2 breathing pattern. And I put in there kind of how as you feel. And I also, as we look down below, I put a RPE scale in there too, based on our emoji scale here that I'll get to in a second. So if you see like this kind of dash at the top, that means minute, and then like a quote type of sign or symbol, seconds. So if you look at the example, 1 dash is 1 minute, 30, and then like a quote sign is 30 seconds. That's just to kind of break it down just a little bit more. LR is long run pace. I put down here too, it should be done at about 30 seconds, anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute and 15 seconds per mile slower than an easy pace. Obviously starting off much slower and gradually getting there. And again, too, I'll show you the RPE scale of where you should start and end. ST stands for strides. Remember, these can be done on a soft surface, or if you'd like to, they can be up a slight uphill as well for about 10 to 15 seconds. You can do them flat foot if you'd like on the grass. But these are done for the purpose of kind of quickening up that turnover, using good biomechanics, things like that. Later, as we get into about week 9, you'll see HMP. That just stands for half marathon pace. And then to check your chart on what your pace per mile should be based on your half marathon pace. We'll get to that in another video too. Fartlek. Okay, it's just a surge of running. Also known as speed play. That Swedish term meaning speed play. I put on here, only run hard enough that you can maintain a relaxed form. If you're all over the place biomechanically, you're going too fast, you're not relaxed. Again, that's why those strides are going to help with quickening up that turnover. And then I put do as many reps as you can, or do as many reps to get you to a mile total, which includes the rest period too. So I'll get that in a second too. Fartlek options. I put some down here. There's 5 of them. In parentheses, kind of totals up how long the fartlek might last. So if you see, for instance, here, 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes, all the way down to 1 minute, with a minute easy in between those, will get you anywhere from 3 to 6 miles. So if you see here on the 40 mile per week plan, you might have a half a mile fartlek to do. That's not going to be a good option for you to do. There's one right here with you go 90 seconds hard with 60 to 90 seconds easy in between. That'll get you anywhere from half a mile, 6 miles. So when doing this too, obviously just keep on going through the circuit or the loop until you get to that half mile, and that includes the easy in between as well. Okay, so again, if you have a GPS watch or a way to track how long you're doing that for, that would make it so much easier. Then here's that stride rate count pyramid that we did once or twice during the cross country season last year. And that's just going 10 hard steps, 10 easy steps, 20 hard, all the way up to 100. You only do 100 hard, 100 easy once, and then back down 90, 80, 70, and so forth. Remember, you're only counting on one side, not both. Progressive tempo. We switch on and off between a fartlek and a progressive tempo every other week. So you're just going to start off a little slower than goal race pace, I should say, and then get a little faster. And that's just teaching the body to kind of increase that intensity as you start to fatigue a little bit, because that's what we really want to see in a race. And then RPE is that rate of perceived exertion scale of 1 to 10. We'll go based on that. And I'd make another note too here saying that if you are going to use like the weight room option, kind of block off this body weight option. You're just looking at the weight room option post run, not both. So don't go back and forth here. Okay, so if we look at week 1, I'm not going to go through all the weeks, but just a kind of example here. 4 miles E, so easy pace. If you are using a heart rate monitor or way to track your heart rate, you should be about 65 to 75% of your maximum heart rate based on that formula from the last video that I talk about heart rate training. RPE, I mentioned 4 to 6. Okay, so going back to the maximum heart rate or percentage of maximum heart rate and the RPE, start off on the lower number. Okay, that's going to ensure that you go through the whole run with as much energy as you need. Okay, so for instance, a lot of you are going to be using the RPE scale, so starting off at a 4. Okay, so going back to the RPE scale, you should be starting off around here. I'm sweating a little bit, feel good, can carry on the conversation comfortably, give me a thumbs up. Okay, and then as you start to run, kind of that 2 thumbs up, winking type of thing, just above comfortable, sweating more, can talk easily, and then a 6, no more than a 6 you should be getting to on an easy run. Okay, so about the later stages of the green, and definitely in the yellow for that easy type of pace run or steady state run. Okay, so on Wednesday I have a cross train or off day. If you're doing the body weight option, you still have day 2 to do of that body weight option. Okay, but cross train, no more than 30 minutes, I would say. Or cross train if you're gonna take a class at the Y, or you're gonna play basketball or something like that. That's perfectly fine. Or utilize your recovery to its full potential, and just rest that whole entire day unless you have to work or whatever it may be. Saturday I got 6 miles LR, also as long run. Okay, and as you see down here as well, you see the RPE starts at 2 and goes no more than 5. Okay, so going back to the emoji scale here, you're starting off kind of in the blue here. Okay, you got the sunglasses on, you're feeling good, I'm comfortable, and I can maintain this pace all day long. That's what you want to feel like, especially in the beginning. And then eventually kind of getting up to a 5 at most. Okay, just in this yellow area here. So that's very important, obviously, because we need to use the long runs to its full purpose. Okay, and you can read about that in that training intensities as well. And then the day before that, on Friday, as a little kind of prep for the long run, you see here the RPE is between 3 and 5. Okay, and you can look at the emoji scale for that as well, with the percent maximum heart rate. Okay, so that's the first week to kind of get you back into, remember here's our transition phase. Okay, it's kind of getting back into the routine of running. So that way we can start the general prep phase in the first week of the build. So if you see here, kind of on Tuesday, you got 4 miles easy plus 4 to 6 times ST or strides. Okay, so try to do that after the run like we've done before. And resting about, so again, going 10 to 15 seconds, that good mechanics. Okay, and then resting for about like a minute or as much time as you need. Don't be going 10 to 15 seconds hard and then all of a sudden turning around and then doing it again. Remember, the purpose is to perfect your form and to have quick turnover. So in order to do that, you need to rest for a certain amount of time. And everyone's different too. Some people are fully recovered after 45 seconds of doing that. Some people need about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, whatever you think you need. Okay, and then same thing kind of going down here. So remember to look at the RPE scales, especially for knowing how hard you should be running. So the first 2 weeks of that, especially the 40-mile week plan, is 21 miles for that week. And then as you can see, too, on the 50 and the 60, if you have those, they're about the same as well. As we get into week 3, this is when we introduce that fartlek. Okay, so as you see here, half-a-mile fartlek. This is, again, the 40-mile per week plan. This 50 and the 60 are a little bit different, a little bit higher. But you see 3 miles easy pace here to kind of warm up. And this RPE, so when you see an RPE through like a workout week or through a workout day, that represents the RPE that should be at this bolded mark. Okay, so or the actual workout. Remember that easy pace should be 4 to 6 on the RPE scale. Okay, or 3 to 5. Okay, for like a cool down. So definitely, utilize those RPE scales to your full potential. So 4 to 6 on the warm up. That half-mile fartlek, choose one of those fartleks in the keys. Okay, that should be done at 6 to 7. So going back to the emoji scale here, here's where you should be feeling on those RPE scale. Okay, for that fartlek. Remember, you should not be up here in the red. You're going too hard. You're defeating the purpose. You're in that gray zone. Okay, remember to try to stick to where I have your RPEs at. Okay, and then 1.5 miles easy, about a 3 to 5 on the RPE scale to kind of cool down. If you do have access to a track, you can do this a 400 meter workout. If you don't, I just mentioned here 80 to 90 seconds, okay, your 1 mile pace. And if you look at your pace chart, you can see what I highlighted for that. And I'll, again, show you that in the next video of what you're looking for. Okay, and then I have your rest here. Even though I don't need like a rest, for instance, this 40 mile per week plan, you're only doing one of them. But if you're doing multiple of them, obviously take 2 to 3 minutes rest, walking around, catching your breath, things like that. You can jog a little bit if you want to, but definitely not sitting and definitely not just standing around. Okay, and then that 1.75 miles easy pace here. So I have RPE 8 to 9. That's for that 400 meters that you want to do that for. So again, going back here, 8 to 9, that's where we are right here. Okay, again, making sure you know the purpose behind what that's all about. And then you start to increase your long run pace a little bit. Okay. Progressive tempo, again too. So if you have a 1 mile progressive tempo, obviously start like the first minute or two off at that just faster than a goal race pace, or just below goal race pace, and then slowly kind of getting faster every minute or every 2 minutes, something like that. Okay, and I put there what that RPE should look like. So starting off like at a 5 maybe, and then getting to like a 7 by the end of that progressive tempo. There's your 400 again, same thing with the RPE. Okay, and then you can see here too, now your fartlek has now gone up to 1.5 miles for the 40 mile per week plan, and now you're at 2 400s, so that's where that 2 to 3 minutes rest comes in. Okay, so now 1.5 miles fartlek. And then 2 mile progressive tempo, as you see here, keeping the 2 400s the same as the week prior. And then as you can see here now to 2.5 mile fartlek. So you start to increase those a little bit as we go into the cycles. Okay, and you can see too that we have a 3-week build of mileage and then 1 week of recovery. All right, let me go back up a little bit here. So one last thing here, so to kind of get into week 9 here, now you see you have 2 times 1 mile, so mile repeats at that half marathon pace, the HMP, with 1 to 2 minutes rest in between. So it's now that since there's a little bit less rest, half marathon pace is going to be slightly easier pace than those 400s. Okay, and as you can see too, RPE for those 400s 8 to 9, and RPE for this workout 6 to 7. Okay, so again too, if you have a GPS watch, perfect. If not, then just try your best. Let me know if you need me to give you a different type of workout. If you don't have access to knowing where a mile is, or for instance, after the 1 mile, you do a 1200 at 10K pace with 1 minute rest. Okay, again, too, if you do not have access to a track, which hopefully you're able to use your local high school's track, then you can do that. Okay, so again, let me know if you need help with knowing what pace you're at, but I will show you in the next video of what paces you should hit. Okay. And then next week, same thing. Now we start to introduce every other week the fartleks in there again. Okay, but the fartlek, I believe that the mileage or the time stays the same. Yes, it does. But we switch from the fartlek to the progressive tempo. Okay, so there's that. And again, to your RPE scale of where you should be based on that workout. Remember, easy is most of the time between 4 and 6 or 3 and 5 on the RPE. Okay, and we start to build in more 400s, and I start adding in some 800s as well. So your 400 is at 1 mile pace with 2 to 3 minutes rest, and then your 800s are at 2 mile pace with the equal amount of rest. So if your 800 goal time that you're supposed to hit is say 3 minutes, then you're going to rest for 3 minutes. However, if you run a like 250, let's say for the 800, then you're resting for 250. Okay, so you're always resting the same amount of time it takes you to do that 800, but you're trying to be as close to that goal pace as possible. Okay, and then as you see, there's your strides again. You start increasing the amount of strides that you do. Okay, so it's about the same thing for all those. And then as we get August 19th to 25th, the last week before our first meet, that's when you'll hit your peak weekly mileage for that. Okay, so again, too, on the next video, I'll explain a little bit more about what your paces should be, but that should give you a good foundation to start.